Hopefully we won't need it because it's so much easier to watch it on YouTube. All right. When you go live, tell me and I'll do record too.
It's live.
All right. All right. It is 5 o'clock. I'm going to let everyone in. All right. Good evening, everybody. So great to see everyone. We have about 113 people joining us today, and I'll keep an eye on a little bit and ask Mr. Taylor, our co-host, to also keep an eye on the waiting room as people come in so that we get everybody else in. Even though we love starting our meetings on time, I think that's always important. I'll give a couple more minutes. I've noticed there's always a little bit of more of a lag with our Zoom start time. You get on your computer, you think it's ready to go, and you have to, it's just going a little bit slower at that time. I've lived through that myself as well. So sometimes people are logging on right at the 5 o'clock time. So I'll give them one more minute and then we're going to get started. Okay, let me move this down. All right, I'm gonna turn the waiting room over to Mr. Taylor. Okay, welcome. I just want to welcome everybody. First of all, this is awesome to be able to see. I guess we're about 120 people right now, so that's great. I do want to start just from the very beginning, just to let you know we're going to have a great year this year. I know it's going to be different, and you know we can't hide that fact. But after having talked with the teachers over the last couple of weeks and hearing some of their great experiences and seeing some of the great experiences, I'm more convinced than ever that we're going to have a great year. I'm going to ask us to move the PowerPoint over. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to say the rest of the people come in. Okay. If we can skip ahead to, yes. Well, I want to just talk a little bit about, I know the schedule seems to be the most interesting piece. I did send the schedule out, so I know this is not the best view to see the schedule, but I wanted to give you a little bit of idea of how it's going to be set up. There are going to be, if you look here in the red, each grade level has has a block of language arts, and then down here the yellow as a block of math. Each one's about 45 minutes of time, then there's time for some small group work. We know that there's people have different feelings about the whole process. We have some people who are from the spring not enough time of instruction, and some people looking at this and go, okay, this is too much. So what the county has done is really kind of provided options. Here are some options for live instruction. If that works well with you and your family and for your student, you'll have time for live instruction. If you just can't make that work, you'll get the instruction. It'll be through Canvas. So that you can do it asynchronously on your own time when it fits your schedule. So students will be working Monday through Friday, and this live instruction will be Tuesday through Friday. So Monday will be a day for all instruction they will be doing through Canvas at that time, or after they read what they have to do, they'll do it on their own. So it kind of gives you maybe a kind of a menu of choices. Encore, we'll let Encore teacher talk, but there'll be a block of Encore for everybody. Of course, a block of lunch and time for students to have their own recess. And like I said, there's some time for small group work. That may not be daily. You may have days where your student doesn't have any additional small group work, and there may be days where they have maybe 2 small groups in addition to the live instruction, if they are able to make all those times. And I'm going to skip the Encore information for a little bit later on. Can we go to our next slide? Just want to, you'll see this in the Timberwolf Times that comes out tomorrow, as you will see the schedule again too. So tomorrow I am sending in the morning the schedule as well as these dates, some of which I've sent out before. I just wanted to give you a heads up so you can put these in your calendar. But like I said, if you don't have paper, you don't have to write them down because you'll get this in the Timberwolf Times tomorrow. Starting next week, I know some people have signed up for laptops and devices. I shouldn't just say laptops, but any of the devices we have, we're trying to get out there. Unfortunately, we don't have 900 laptops, so we would have been doing one-to-one technology instruction last year. So we're trying to make sure all students are able to have access to a device. Sometimes in a family that might need more than one device, we're looking at maybe a laptop and something else. But I know, and we'll be passing those out, and Mrs. Kruger sent out that email to those families to sign up for that. However, I know a lot of you still have technology questions. So even though Mr. Taylor will talk a little bit about some technology today, you may want to save up those bigger questions, especially after you get the laptops early in the week, for Mr. Taylor on August 27th. We're going to have some question and answer sessions from 11:30 to 12:30, 1:30 to 2:30, and we'll look at trying to record those as well. We are recording this session, so if you're not able to stay for the whole thing, or friends ask you about it, they can look at that YouTube link. Then the following week, the last week before students start coming to school, or coming to school virtually, that's when we'll pass out our Timberwolf at Home resource toolkits. That's just some resources like a dry erase board, markers, and some other items that grade levels put together that students can use at home to help them during instruction. So they'll get a bag of a variety of different resources. It might be something that we'll update as the weeks go on. So maybe we're looking at returning back, say, end of September, early October, and maybe we'll do a second at-home resource toolkit based on what the teachers feel students need at home. It may only be like some grade levels do that or not, but definitely August 31st and September 1. We'll be doing that from 1 to 5 p.m. on both those days. We'll have the first and second grade students pick up from the car loop, third through fifth pick up from the bus loop. For kindergarten students, our newest students here, we're going to do a special kindergarten pickup. We normally do in the summer of Booksicles, where we have students come in. I'm able to read them a story. We give them a book, and we give them some popsicles, and they see their teachers. We've done that, so we're going to try to combine that. Although we can't really do it in person, our teachers are going to be out there on September 2nd from 5 to 6:30. You'll see them. They'll have their signs, and we'll hand it out. And we're hoping our books are here in time, and we'll give out all our kindergartners some popsicles on that day too. So we'll try to make it a little bit special, sort of instead of a meet and greet that day, kind of more of maybe a meet and beat. Just came up with it. Sorry, I thought that was funny. All right, next page. When you tell jokes and everybody's muted, this really gets you right here, self-confidence wise. Then, also that week, new student orientation. We'll just want to take maybe about 20, 30 minutes just to meet with our new students, and it includes kindergarten through fifth grade. We'll just give you a little bit tell you a little bit about the school, things that we like to do just to say hello, because we really aren't able to bring our new students in, give them a chance to see who we are. We'll have some of our Encore teachers there with us as well, and we're making a little video, give you an idea how the school looks. So that's for new students, and then for all students, including the new students, the next day, September 2nd, we'll have our open house meet and greet. So again, it's virtual. It won't be live, but every grade level has an hour. All those Zoom links will be coming out. So just carefully watch those Zoom links. Make sure you see which ones are for which event. Unfortunately, because everything kind of comes near that end, you'll get a few. So I have the ones going out for Mr. Taylor's question and answer. We'll have the one for new student orientation and the one for the open house meet and greet. All right, skip ahead. Okay, class placements. It looks like from what we heard from our school division that they'll be updated in parent view. So like we did last year, we won't be sending home postcards or anything, letters or all that. Like last year, all that information will be in parent view. If by chance you're not in parent view, and I think we only have a few people left who are not in parent view, you want to email Mrs. Ferrone, and that information, her email will come in the Timberwolf Times tomorrow as well. Or if you are in parent view and you forgot your password, you can email her too. And then we'll give you some more information once school starts on how to remember that password also. Keep in mind, because we're looking at creating classes, not just based on how we normally would look at everything for the fall. We're actually directed to create classes based on what families feel they will be doing in the second quarter. So we're looking at those families who feel they'll still stay virtually, those families that will feel like they are coming in person. So some of our classes, you know, I know a lot of times people have sent me input and letters and all that, and we try to take as much into account, but we're also now directed to develop those classes based on virtual at-home placement and all that. So we won't be able to accommodate any real class changes once we get going, at least for that first part of the school year, through the first semester, until we really get to see where everything falls. Great thing is, because all our teachers know that there is possibility for some switching, because, you know, in November we may have thought somebody was coming in virtually, but they may now decide they want to be in person, or vice versa, or however it might be. All our teachers are making sure they are aligned in their instruction. So in each grade level, so, you know, all first grade teachers, all second grade teachers are going to be aligned. So if we do have to make any switches, and we're hoping that it will be very minimal, if any at all, at least, you know, everyone will be on the same page. Your student won't lose out if they have to switch from one teacher to another teacher. All right, want to go to the next slide. Okay, I do want to say that over the next couple of weeks, you will have a teacher from your child's grade level reaching out to you. It may not be, and it might most likely not be, but it may not be who your child's teacher will be in September, but someone from that grade level will be reaching out to you just to make sure that your student knows how to log on, how to, you know, that you have no questions about getting on. So someone will be reaching out to you during that time. They'll probably reach out to you first by email to see who's having any issues, any questions. And then if you do have additional questions or information, you just let them know, and they'll follow up with a phone call. So you'll be getting somebody to follow up with you with that. So we are excited. It definitely is going to be fun. It's totally different than the spring, and we're going to talk about that. Through the rest of our agenda, I'm going to ask Mrs. Kruger to talk about how instruction will be different from the spring. And then we're going to have some of our teachers talk a little bit about the past summer school experience. We had the county had summer school. We had a few of our teachers who were able to teach summer school, and they were very positive about the experience. Again, very different than spring. And then we're going to also talk about some of the things that really worked out well for some of our teachers teaching throughout that whole time. And I've asked Mrs. Cunningham, Mrs. Grant, going to just talk about how with their role in social emotional support, Mr. Taylor, some technology information, and then Mrs. Uditsky, Mrs. Scares will talk about special education, ESOL, anybody about some specific information for students who might get those resources of support. Mrs. Wright's going to talk a little about Encore, and then we're going to open up for questions and answers if you're not really sick and tired of us by that point. So I'm going to now turn it over to Mrs. Kruger, and I'm going to mute myself.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Mrs. Kruger. I'm going to talk about the differences between fall instruction and the spring instruction. So the fall instruction, we're going to have new instruction virtually. In the spring, we were not allowed to introduce new instruction. So that made it difficult for some of our learning goals. In the fall, this upcoming fall, we're going to have kindergarten through second grade. We'll have of live instruction, and 3rd through 5th will have 120 minutes of live instruction. We will offer small group instruction Tuesday through Friday, and all of the instruction will be organized with an online management system called Canvas. So we will have synchronous and asynchronous learning all offered through Canvas. In the spring, there was no new instruction, only 2 hours of live instruction per week. There were no real small group instruction occurring, and really only Zoom meetings rather than everything else. So we're gonna have a lot more going on this fall. It's gonna be really great. I'm gonna have some of our other teachers talk about their experiences in summer school. So Mrs. Rice, you wanna start us off?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. So a big part of kindergarten is building those relationships with students and cultivating a love for learning. So I've taught for 18 years, most of it in kindergarten, and I was really worried about how I was going to be able to do that over a screen. So I gave up my summer and taught summer school, and I had smashing success. It was totally awesome. It was amazing. I built relationships with students and their families. At the end of summer school, I asked for their feedback, parental feedback, and almost all of it was very, very positive. So it was really good. I'm very excited to start this new year out. And your kindergarten teachers are working daily together to make this a really memorable and successful year for all the students. So thank you.
Mrs. Hanover, do you want to jump in? Do I need to unmute Mrs. Hanover?
So I had, oh,
You're good.
okay. So I had the opportunity to teach 2nd grade summer school. And again, it was all virtual. And one of the big concerns that parents and teachers have alike is getting to know the students, like Mrs. Rice said, not just personally, but also their abilities. And I just wanted to share with you that through interactive games and activities this summer, we were really able to do that in a very short amount of time. The instruction delivered in summer school is about half the time that it will be for kindergarten through 2nd grade in the upcoming school year. And I was really amazed at how quickly these children were able to show what they know. I was able to then push and challenge in different areas and help children grow as much as they possibly could in the short time we had together. So that left me feeling very optimistic about what we've got going on this fall. As Mrs. Rice said, all the teachers are working daily. We are learning new technology each and every day. And along with that, your children are amazing with technology. Again, in summer school, their ability to navigate Canvas and find on to different websites and find the activities that we were doing together was very impressive. So I'm highly optimistic, and I know that working together, we're going to do a great job.
Mr. Stampolipo, do you want to share your experience?
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for being here. I taught 3rd grade in summer school, and I just wrote down a few things. I'm gonna read from my notes from my experience. The first thing is that summer school was, for the students, very successful, and they definitely showed growth throughout summer school, which of course is what we want. Man, participation, effort, and patience for parents, teachers, and students is definitely very important. Canvas is the learning system that we're going to be using really works well. And I was not surprised because, as Mr. Hanover said, students are good with technology, but they really picked it up quick. Summer school is only 3 weeks long, and it didn't take them long to use it and to utilize it the way that we asked them to. There's definitely plenty to learn, but they did a good job with it. Parents, I think the one nice thing with Canvas is eventually you'll be able to get what they call a peering code, and you'll be able to look on through your end of it to see your child's progress and the work that they've completed. So that's a nice feature that I think you'll enjoy. Of course, there's so many resources that we've found and discovered that we're using now. I use some in summer school, and that will be great for our classes. I wrote down, the quote, necessity is the mother of invention. And that's definitely true for us. And I think we're doing it, and we're being successful with it for sure. So summer school was a great experience. The kids were successful, and I'm definitely looking forward to the school year. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mrs. Spightmaster.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to piggyback off of what Mrs. Hanover and Mrs. Rice said, that our teachers have all been working daily through the whole summer, learning these new programs, and we're really excited about some of the ones we're going to be using. They're I think the kids are going to love them. They're fun, they're interactive, and we feel confident that it's going to be a great year. We're working together. We're like I said, learning new things, and we've just been together a lot, working on things to make it a great year for your children, which is what we really want. We want them to have a happy and successful year.
Yes, so we wanted to give everyone just a little idea about summer school, because that was really a little more aligned to what we're looking at in the fall. But we also had some great experiences in the spring, and I know those teachers took a lot of things from the spring and they're planning for their site. We've also asked a couple of our teachers, just so you get an idea. I really wanted to, I hear a lot of stuff back and forth, but a lot of things I saw was so positive, amazing, considering what we're all working under. Will we choose this over being here in person? No. But here's what we're under. So I did ask Mrs. Wiggins, Mrs. Cortesh, and Mrs. Curry to also share a few things that they felt worked well and things that they're looking forward to. So I'll go to Mrs. Wiggins first.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming today. I'm so excited to see such a huge turnout. In the spring, we were so concerned about how we're going to continue this learning, via the computer and via this thing called Zoom. And now we're all pros at it. And now over the summer, when they went and they tried out Canvas and were able to have success with that, I really feel like the fall is just going to be perfect, a really great transition. But let me tell you about the spring. The children are terrific with their technology and use of technology and catching on super quick, so that it almost, I can't say it was super seamless, but it was pretty seamless. 2 days a week, I had class meetings, and I did do small groups because I have teach first grade, and I really felt instead of a whole group continuing of learning, it would be better if I just met the children at their level. And so I met with 2 to 3 groups a day, and it was just enough time for the children to learn, have fun, talk to each other, continue what we were doing, check comprehension, practice some math skills before they really got super antsy. So it really worked really well. So I think the fall is going to be great. I'm pretty excited. And just like Mr. Sanfilippo said, all the things that we know now that we can work with and how to make our lessons more exciting and more interactive, it's pretty cool. So very excited.
Some of the things that we saw teachers doing in the spring is almost like they knew what might be expected in the fall. So I know Ms. Wiggins did a lot with some small groups, and I know Mrs. Curry and Mrs. Cortesh also did a lot. So Mrs. Cortesh, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my classroom. We are really excited this year to continue with virtual learning. This past spring, we were thrown into the deep end, and our teachers really rose to the occasion. I felt like I thrived in that environment kind of because I was able to continue on with the relationships that I had built with my class. I even felt that I was able to spend more time doing those morning meetings and things like that with them that I wouldn't have gotten to in the normal classroom because we would have been rushing to encore or rushing to lunch. So I felt like I was able to have movie nights with my class and a class luau at the end of the year. So those types of extra things we were able to do that we wouldn't have gotten to do in the normal classroom because of all the other distractions. We did do small groups. Several of us in the 4th grade did. We met for 25-minute sessions. It was just enough time to really meet the kids. We did it for both math and reading. I met with a couple of kids at a time, no more than 5, the perfect amount to really meet them virtually. Also, we platforms like Flipgrid. My class loved Flipgrid. There were over 1,600 submissions from my class this past spring. They just really flew with it. All of my class meetings, most of the kids were there. So it really shows you that you create an exciting environment virtually for your class, they will show up. They'll want to be there, want to see their friends. And this is the only way they're seeing their friends most days. So you want to be able to build that community with your class, whether it's virtually or in person. And unfortunately, we're virtually, and that's okay. We can make it work. So I'm very excited to see all of your students this fall.
Mrs. Curry?
Oh, put me last. Behind Katie. So just to piggyback off what Mrs. Cortash and Mrs. Wiggins said, this spring, it definitely shocked all of us, and we all came together and worked really hard to make sure that we were doing the things that we could do for our classes. Mrs. Cortash and I really teamed up and decided that what was going to be best for us and our classes was to do small grouping, because just as much as they needed us, I needed them as well. So I was able to meet with small groups 8 times a week for math and reading. I did 2 whole class meetings a week as well. And my kids were awesome with showing up. I probably had about 98% of my kids at every meeting because it was fun and engaging. And they really loved coming to the small group meetings where it was more just enough. It was enough of them and with me, and it was easier to have like the small group with them, and they learned a lot. I felt like they continued to learn throughout the spring. I was able to differentiate my instruction with my kids, whether it was reteaching items or even teaching them something that they could learn or they would need to learn in 5th grade as well. So I know I'm looking forward to the fall. And I cannot wait to meet my new 4th graders in a couple of weeks on Zoom. So see you guys soon.
Thank you. Again, like I said, I really wanted to start off with all the positives and give you a sense of what everyone's been focusing on. We really are pulling together to try to make this successful. We know, the biggest part, another difference, maybe a difference that's not in our favor, is that in the spring we knew our classes. So one of the first challenges that we're going to have is really looking at building those relationships and making our students feel comfortable and feel safe in this environment. And I know our teachers, what's one of the big things they've been planning for and are planning for as we get closer to the start of school. Along those lines, we are here to support students if they have social, emotional needs. I do think that many students are resilient and they will adapt, to some students. This may just be how it is for right now. But for some students, it can really have some social, emotional, mental impact on them. So I asked Mrs. Cunningham and Mrs. Grant to share a little bit as well.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Miss Grant. I am the school social worker. I have been fortunate enough to be at TCWES since it opened. So I know a lot of students. I've seen them go through. We do have a mental health support team at the school, and it consists of myself, the social worker, Miss Cunningham, who is going to speak to you in a couple of minutes, Miss Robertson, who you probably all know. She will be out on leave for the beginning of the school year, and we are fortunate enough to have Miss Sarah Rothman as a long-term sub. She's worked with us in the past, so she is familiar with a lot of the students at our school, so having her come back is really great for us. And then we have a new schools counselor who will be there, I believe it's 2 days a week, Mr. Buckeye? correct? Yeah, 2 days a week, and her name is Sarah Cook. She's very excited to start working with our students. So we do have our team available to help students through some of, the situations that they may be encountering or some of the feelings they may be having. How we can help is, first of all, Mr. Buckeye sent out a parent survey this week. And if everyone could fill that out and send back information to us, it'll give us a good idea of where you guys are as a family and how your students are doing, if you have any needs, so we can figure out where we can provide assistance. We're also available to have consultations with parents. Some people may have unique situations where they do need resource information. It could be basic needs resources, school supplies, any type of resource, counseling for their students. If you need that assistance, we're here to help you and help you find community resources. We are also going to have opportunities for some individual and group counseling, much like we had in the school year when we were in school. Students will have an opportunity to speak to anyone on our support team, any of the counselors or myself if they're having difficulties. And from the information that we collect from you as parents and perhaps teachers, we can put together some groups of students who can work together to get through maybe some issues that they're having. Ms. Cunningham?
Hi, I'm Amy Cunningham. I've been one of the school counselors along with Ms. Robertson at TCWES for going on our 10th year. So for the past decade, very exciting. I'm looking forward to starting this year. Very different, but knowing that we can all pull together to support our students and families. So just like Ms. Grant said, we're going to have systems in place for students and parents to request individual counseling or just let us know they need us to check in, or maybe, have a short-term series of counseling sessions, or maybe just a one-time meeting with a child. We can address any sorts of issues that may be blocking their learning. It's going to be at home, so we're really going to rely on you to let us know, if your student's struggling in any way, emotionally or with the organization, time management, motivation, those sorts of things we can help with. We are going to have a variety of groups, really starting to focus in the beginning on those issues such as, coping skills, anxiety, and motivation and work habits, just to make sure we get anyone who, needs a little bit of extra help getting started in the virtual dynamic. Our lessons are going to focus on that social emotional learning and really focusing in the beginning, like our teachers were saying, about building relationships. We're going to be focusing on Canvas through different asynchronous modules with recorded things that the kids can look at through our One School Counseling Mental Health Team Canvas page. So you'll be able to go there, and it's kind of going to be a one-stop shop for everything mental health related. We're going to focus on lessons in there and resources that focus on developing character, social skills, problem solving, positive thinking, emotion management, self-management with work habits, and of course, continuing our leadership development with our Leader in Me program. We have a lot of exciting resources coming out of that are going to be very easily embedded and very interactive for our students in that digital setting. And just like we said, we're here for support for our students and our parents and our teachers. And we've been working really hard, not just at the school level, but as a county on, how we can really meet the needs of everyone during this difficult, unprecedented time. So really looking forward to seeing all those familiar faces again.
Thank you.
Amy, we also wanted to mention really quick,
oh yeah,
morning announcements. We will have morning mindfulness and yoga during our morning announcements. It'll be conducted by the entire mental health support team on different days, just to help the kids get started with their day and be ready for learning.
Excellent, thank you. I know another big kind of topic of questions is technology and what kind of support there might be. And, we know that's sometimes been a little bit of a hiccup here and there. So I wanted to give Mr. Taylor and Mrs. Kruger just a few moments to touch base with you on some of that, give you a little umbrella overview. Do I have to...
Kristen, did you want to chat about this?
Do we have to unmute? Yeah, I have to ask you to unmute. There we go.
you. So just that teachers will be reaching out to you to offer any technical support. You can always reach out to me or Mr. Taylor. Our emails will be included in an email with you, and the teachers will help you transition to this new virtual learning. Yay. Mr. Taylor?
All right. So we have 3 apps that I know a lot of people have been curious about, or 3 websites or apps or whatever you want to call them. And that's what I've gotten the bulk of my parent questions on pretty much since the middle of the summer: Canvas, Zoom, and Clever. So they're all really easy and really easy to get to and get started on, and the county has made accessing them really easy. They all have very easy URLs: canvas.pwcs.edu, zoom.pwcs.edu, clever.pwcs.edu. So they're all really easy to find with the simple URLs. So Canvas is a learning management system, an LMS, but basically just think about it as your virtual classroom. We can't physically be in school, so Canvas is our virtual substitute for that. If anything related to your class is happening, you're going to be able to find that information on Canvas. So teachers can post assignments on there, they can post quizzes, they can have discussion topics, group things. They're going to be scheduling the Zoom meetings through Canvas, so you'll be able to find all the links for your Zoom meetings on Canvas as well. And then they can post links to external sites. There's a lot of different tools that are available on Canvas. It's one of the biggest learning management systems in the United States. So there are tons of school districts that have been using it even before there was virtual learning. Prince William County was actually looking at purchasing Canvas before all of this started. We had a meeting scheduled to talk about this in April, but that got canceled because the school system shut down. But we had already planned to look into purchasing Canvas for the county anyway. You guys know about Zoom. We're on Zoom right now. Zoom.pwcs.edu will get your child logged into their Zoom account. The county has made accounts for all of these for your child. And if your child has their Office 365 email address and password, they can get into all of these things right now, with the exception being new students and new kindergartners. Their accounts aren't quite active for everything yet. They can get into some of these tools, but for example, if they try to log into Clever, they're going to get an error message. If they try to log into Canvas, they won't have any courses that have been assigned to them. But you definitely have the accounts already. We're preparing a tech handbook, virtual handbook, that we're going to be sending out through email from Dr. Buckite next week. That's going to give you the rundown on how to get logged into all of these, how to find out what your email address is if you don't know it. You may have found some of those documents already if you're poking around on our website, or if you've emailed me, I may have emailed them back to you to help you get signed into your child's account. We're putting together guide videos. Just earlier today, I recorded the how-to video on how to get logged into Zoom on both a PC, Mac, and then a separate video for how to do it on a mobile device. So I'm trying to, as much as possible, get these how-to videos as well as written instructions. Clever is a single sign-on portal. SSO is what we abbreviate that as. Basically, you sign into one site, that's Clever, and then through Clever, it allows you to access other paid websites that we have subscriptions to, either that the Prince William County has purchased a subscription or TCWES has purchased a subscription to. In addition to providing a portal to get into paid websites, we can also just post any links that we want on Clever. So teachers can post other pages on other websites that they might want on Clever. You're going to notice, though, this year, we've had Clever in the past. You're going to notice this year that there might not be as many other websites there because we're trying to funnel all of our traffic as much as possible through Canvas. But there are still some things that we access through Clever. If you sign into Clever, because it's that single sign-on portal, you can just click on Canvas and there's no additional sign-on. It'll take you straight into Canvas. If you sign into Clever, there's a button right there. It'll take you right into Zoom and you'll be signed into your child's Zoom account, ready to go. So it'll hopefully make things easy for you.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Oh,
I got a little bit more, Dr. Buckeye. Come on. So like I said, we have all these guides that we're preparing for you. They're going to be distributed by Dr. Buckeye. I believe we're looking at getting those out next week. We're still waiting for a couple of accounts that are being set up. But as soon as those are ready, we're going to get that information out to you. And then, of course, you can always contact me for help, as dozens of people have already done. My email address, taylorbi@pwcs.edu. And I'm happy to help you if you shoot me an email.
That I was throwing me off the other day. I was trying to write that, and you know, when I looked online, it looked like a little L. I thought, is that an L or I? So I had to just copy it, but now I do. All right. I know some of our students are wondering specifically about other additional resource support like special ed or ESOL, and I want to give a few moments for Ms. Uditsky and Mrs. Scares to touch base about that. Okay. I think I unmuted you guys. SM. Let's see.
All right, there we go. Thank you.
There you go.
All righty. Good evening. Thank you all for being here. If you did not already know, I'm the special education administrator for Claywood Elementary School. I have listed our other teachers here on this slide for you to see. One of the biggest changes from the spring to the fall in regards to special education and our ESOL services is that in the spring, we were not able to deliver direct instruction on IEP goals or direct EL instruction. In the fall, we will. We'll be delivering those via the virtual environment. And so your child's case manager will be reaching out to you shortly. In July, Prince William County changed to a new IEP system. It was planned before all of this happened. So we're now tasked with, we have to rewrite all of the IEPs. We have to get them all into our brand new system. It doesn't look much different. All the information is the same. The pages look a little different. I actually think it's a little bit easier to read than our previous IEP program. It just looks a lot nicer for some reason. You'll have to let me know if you feel the same once you receive your child's, if they do have an IEP. So we're in the process of doing that, and we'll be reaching out to you to discuss what it's going to look like in the virtual environment, at least for the first 9 weeks, and how we'll be meeting the individual needs of our special education and EL students. But please know that there will be direct instruction, and in the spring we were not able to do that. And so we'll be talking about how we can meet your students' needs on their IEP goals as well as on their ESOL school plans. And so if you have any questions, again, case managers are going to have already started reaching out to parents to discuss what everything's going to look like and how we move forward from this. But please feel free to reach out to the case managers if you have additional questions. You can reach out to me as well. And we look forward, again, to having an amazing school year and really looking forward to that direct instruction. I know it was very hard for our special education teachers and our EL teachers to not be able to do that in the spring. So we're very excited about that this year.
Mrs. Rice, do you want to talk a little bit about Encore?
Hi, I'm Mrs. Rice, the other Mrs. Rice, and I am the spokesperson today for the Encore team. I am the librarian. The Encore schedule for this fall is actually going to be very similar to if we were in person. The Encore classes will continue on a 6-day rotation. They'll still have art, music, library, drama, and 2 PEs. We are going to do 45 minute sessions, just like they would have if we were in person. There will be an asynchronous version of our lessons if a student is unable to attend the live session. The live session, we've all sat down and talked and texted for a couple weeks now. And we are basically thinking we'll do like a 30-minute direct instruction activity with a 15-minute practice where we will still stay on the Zoom if the children need any help. But if they feel good, then they are welcome to just do their independent work. And if we were in person, they only get 45 minutes of us once a week and we don't give any homework. We wanted to continue that. So we are trying to contain all our instruction to that 45-minute block once a day. To access our courses, they should all be listed on the student's dashboard when they open their Canvas account. And no extra materials will need to be purchased, if that was a concern. In terms of library, Dr. Buckite and I are in the middle of creating a plan for possible curbside pickup for library books, but that would be more details to come at this point.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Rice. All right, we wanted to now open up the our discussion. It's about 5:45, so I thought maybe 30 minutes or so, about 6:15 to wrap up, but I wanted to give some time to ask some questions. Hopefully we'll know some answers. There's still decisions being developed by our school division and school board, and so we'll try our best here. So Mr. Taylor, what's the best way for us to, should we ask them to raise the hand in reactions or raise your hand in person, because I can't see everybody on here, or
let's see.
Is there a way?
Yeah, if we can, raise our hands or use the reactions that are available on the toolbar. We'll try it that way, and we'll see how it goes. And
we'll try to unmute as we see names pop up.
Yes.
Well, between the two of us, we can go fast. So, some questions. I know there's a lot of questions out there. If you have any questions down below on that toolbar, as Mr. Taylor said, it's a reaction button. If you click that, you'll see a hand. You could use that, or even if you, I don't know if raising your own hand is going to work. Oh, wait, I saw something. I saw a hand. Okay, got one right here. So I can go right to her screen, and I'll ask you to unmute, and that gives you an opportunity to unmute. Mrs. Garney.
Hi. So this is kind of specific, but so if the kids go back whenever they go back, and if a child has to go home and because of sickness or illness, I'm speaking for asthma. If Coleman has to come home because he's having an asthma week, can he go virtual during that week? How would that work? Because normally I would send him to school because he's not really sick, but I can't. So how would that work? Can he come home? Can they go back and forth when they go back to school?
Yeah, good question. And you know, that kind of reminds me, I should preface this with everything I say. I tell this to the teachers all the time too. I'm going to give you kind of some of my thoughts about it. Sometimes I will actually have an answer, 100% answer, but I'm going to preface it with saying everything changes. Not everything, a lot changes. So what we might say now or we think now, we might get different direction later on. And Mrs. Udis, I also unplugged you too, unmuted you too. So if there's something that you've heard differently, you know, just pipe in. But my understanding for students who are, you know, sick like that, I think they could have the option to, in the spring, like in September, it's going to be easier because they'll have you know, most of us are going to be virtual. Mostly everyone is doing virtual instruction. The challenge in November will be if he's here in person, he'll be with a in-person instructor.
Right.
And we will know once we're doing the hybrid model, the 50-50, the alignment that we're having in September through that first quarter, it'll start changing. The in-person alignment with the virtual alignment, we'll try to be on the same page, but it's going to still be a little bit different because virtual students will be going, again, this could change, we'll still be going 4 days a week. In person could be 2 days a week. So if he were to be, say, had to go home and was ill during the, say, the second quarter, starting November, his teacher wouldn't be teaching anymore, would not be teaching virtually. Now, they may have still some, you know, Canvas activities. My understanding is Canvas will continue for both at home, because they're here only 2 days a week. Canvas will still be part of the instruction for the other 3 days for those students who aren't there. So he won't necessarily get the virtual instruction because he would have to join another class. Now, again, some of that guidance might change, as they move that. But what I think they're going to try to avoid are, like say people who might say, I want to do virtual this week, and just because we won't be able to in November. So it'll probably be more of a Canvas kind of support afterwards. With that. And again, keep in mind, that things could change. Sometimes I feel like I got it figured out, and then we hear something else, and it's like, oh, okay, good. All right, is it Chiano? Yeah, I'm just going down to my bar here. I'm muting you as you come through. Yeah.
Thanks so much. I was just curious about START, and if START is also going to be offered during this virtual situation.
Yep. Mrs. Edwards and Mrs. Studs will still be working with small groups or even their whole group during START. Probably won't start that first week because they have to identify where all the classes are in, but we don't normally start that first week when we're in person either. So yep, that's going to go on. That's going to be one of those, like when you look at the schedule, and again, you'll probably see it better tomorrow. I know that screen was hard to see. You'll see big blocks of time. So they'll be working during those times. So, if they'll try, and they'll be given certain guidance on how many hours it would be. So I would imagine normally 4th grade and 5th grade, for example, in Signet is, I can't even remember anymore now, it's like 4 hours or something along those lines. They probably won't be the same amount of time just because of all the other instruction going on, but she will be pulling groups. Yeah, good question. A question I knew the answer for 100%. All right, let's see. We'll go this way. Oh, I got a hand right there. Mrs. Nino, our cafeteria manager. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so can the students start kind of logging in and kind of seeing how everything is going to work out, or is too early?
Do you mind if is it okay if I jump in?
I was just going to call you.
Yeah, if your son knows his credentials, then you're good to go. You can actually log in. The Zoom account is active. The Canvas account is active, but they don't have any courses yet. And the Clever account is active. And then if you need those things to be reset, because maybe he doesn't know his username or his password, then I have instructions for those. Or if you look on the TCLAWOOD website at any of the grade level pages, I've posted all the instructions for that on there.
Wonderful, thank you. So good to see everybody,
Yeah,
by
good
the
to see you,
way.
It's Mr. Sharif. I'm here. Okay. Is it?
Hello, Mr. Bukai.
Hi.
So I just wanted to find out if we have selected to in person and starting in November, can we later switch it to online only? Right now, everybody's online, right? First quarter. So for the second quarter, is there an option to revert back to online only?
Yes. Yeah. You'll have an option to change before the second quarter. They're not going to hold everyone to what they decided basically in June and early July for November. So either something will come out from the county, or as a school, we'll send it out before that second quarter starts. It has made, placement, as I mentioned earlier today, made it a little bit challenging because we're directed to create placements based on November, but we also know while we're doing that, we're thinking, people are going to change their minds. They may see that virtual went really, really well, and they may want to continue that, or they may be thinking, my students, I was going to do virtual. Maybe the cases of COVID-19 has gone down a little bit, and they might feel more comfortable coming in. So we'll probably see a bunch of changes when we get closer to that second quarter. All right.
This is Carbajal. Yeah.
Yep, Carbajal. This is Carbajal. I think Mrs. Carbell. I think I tried to I clicked it so you can unmute.
How about the children who are in the process of being tested for Signet? Is that going to continue during the first quarter, the evaluation process?
Andrew, I actually was just working with Pam Edwards because she needed to print papers for evaluations. They had started in the spring, and those evaluations are going to continue. Mrs. Edwards is already working hard on getting everything ready for those evaluations.
Good question. Let's see, Mrs. Hall.
I had the same question.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
That was good. Thank you.
Let's see, I'm going to go through here, looking for the little blue hands on my right screen here. I know it shows orange on the videos, but on the right by participants, it shows a little blue hand here. Mr. Sharif, I see you there. Is that where Mr. Sharif and Mrs. Carbajal, was that the same question and just hands didn't go down yet? Or did you have different questions?
We have Navara Cannon, new question.
Oh, good job.
Good.
All right, Miss.
Well, hello. Thanks for doing this, by the way. For any students with IEPs, the case manager will be reaching out. Will they be emailing or calling, and will they identify themselves? Because I don't think I've ever worked with a case manager. I work with Ms. Uditsky and all his great teachers and things like that, but not a titled case manager.
It would be Mr. Parker would be reaching.
Oh, okay.
I guess the teacher. Sometimes we don't identify ourselves as case manager, but yes, it would be Mr. Parker. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Kell, I don't see any other hands. Do you?
I'm surfing through the participants now. If you have a question.
Have a question. It's your time. We're all here. Oh, no. Many of us are here. Well, I'll give you a little bit more wait time, but as we're doing that, I just again want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. It's been great for us. You know, I know it's been challenging for everybody, but when you're used to having 900,000 students and all the families and all the teachers in there, we definitely have felt very isolated during this time. So great to see everybody here. I guess the message I want to convey beyond all the other things, I mean, all the little technical pieces from what works and the counseling, all the pieces that are making it work are important. But I really want to convey that we are here. We're all really working hard to make this successful, positive experience for everyone. And as I sent those dates out about things, if you're not able to make those dates, email, if Mrs. Kruger sent you information about the laptops, email her. Other dates, if you see them come out, if you can't make that date, email me. Usually it'll be, we probably won't be able to get it before those dates, but after that we can set up a different time to pick up something. So if you can't pick up the toolkits on the 31st or the 1st, we won't be able to do it probably beforehand just because of getting everything together, but we can do another day. I know not every day is going to work for everybody else.
Dr. Buckeye, we got 4 questions popping up now.
All right. Okay. Look at that. Little wait time, right? So we'll go to Mrs. Is it Mrs. Hang?
Hi, we're new to this community, new school. We have twins and they are going to be in the same class this year. We're just wondering if we need to set up 2 different computers for them and submit 2 different type of, all these assignments.
Do you mind if I handle that question?
Jump in. I will never mind, Mr. Taylor.
So the way that all of the accounts work is that they're using the Office 365 account, that Microsoft account, to get them logged in. And that account works best when it can stay signed in So what I've been recommending when people have asked me is if you can set up different profiles, if you have like a Windows or a Mac computer, you can set up multiple users on that. So like when the computer first boots up, it'll ask you like which user it is. If you can set up different users, then each of your children will be able to stay signed in when it's on their account. But some people don't want to do that or can't do that or whatever. If you have to have a single profile on your computer, then you'll have to make sure that you're signing out of Office 365 and signing back in with a different user when you want to switch. It does sometimes, if you didn't sign out like the right way, then it'll like, sign them back into Canvas in the wrong account. It'll sign them back into Zoom in the wrong account. So I would definitely encourage you to set up different users on the computer. And as much as possible, I have been trying to help people with issues that they have, even though it's at home on personal devices. I have been trying to help. So you can always email me, and if I just can't help, then I'll just let you know that I just can't figure it out. So I'll do my best though.
And there are maybe times, I mean, most of the support technology, Mr. Taylor is awesome. He can give it to you over email or even, possibly even the phone if we had to. Same thing with our other technology, our tech person, she's been great. And there have been times where she's just had somebody bring the laptop and computer here to the school, and then they've opened it up and she's been able to do that. Kind of kept social distance, but worked on it that way as well. And our school is a Wi-Fi access school. There are a few schools in the county like that. So, sometimes you can just come here and, get on our Wi-Fi if that helps. Shoshani had a question. Let me unmute her. And Mrs. Sanfilippo noticed that as well.
Okay. Hello. I had a question about the supply list. I know that some of the things on the list won't apply for the virtual learning, like the Dixie cups and paper towels and stuff. But are there any supplies that you or the teachers think, as far as that we absolutely need at home for virtual learning, that that we should use instead of like buying, just figuring out what we should get?
Yeah, I would, if you haven't bought the supply list, I would just hold off on it until we know. If you have bought it, it'll come in handy at some point. I know paper, pencil, pens like that. When the teachers start reaching out from the individual grade levels next week and the week after, just double check with them if there's something from the supply list. We're really not asking anyone to buy anything additional. If it wasn't on the supply list or in the PTO supply kits, anything like that, we won't ask you anything additional beyond that. But maybe say, hey, I haven't bought anything from the supply list, or I bought a few things. Is there something I definitely need from that list? And that grade level person can tell you for sure, because it really is varying from some are like, hey, we'll make you do with what we're sending home and the at-home kits and the paper, pencil, things like that, the dry erase board and Canvas, and some might have one or two things from that list that they'll ask for. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let's see. I guess I'll just start from the top here. Is that right? I can't remember if there was an order. Mrs. Horvath?
Horvath, yes. Hi, how are you? First off, let me just say thank you, Dr. Buckeye and Mr. Taylor. You guys have been wonderful with all of my emails that I have sent you. I am a parent of a kindergartner, so it's been very difficult for me because I was looking forward to, all the kindergarten orientation and everything. So to navigate this without all of that stuff has been very hard for me. So the question I have is for the sample schedule that you sent out. I'm a little confused because it says that the kindergartners get 90 minutes of like live interaction, but then there's more than 90 minutes. So I'm a little confused on like the schedule.
Yeah, when you look at it, and it's probably too complicated to bring up.
I think Liz Rice wanted to chime in, if that's all right.
That is even better. Yes, Ms. Rice, one of our kindergarten teachers. Yeah. Oh, do I have to?
You have to unmute her.
Okay.
Thank you. So we just put the kindergarten team put our schedules
kind of a rough draft of our schedule today. So the live instruction will be 45 minutes, but as kindergarten teachers, we understand that your child can't sit and stare at a screen for 45 minutes. So there's going to be lots of time for movement and brain breaks and whatnot in there. So after that 45 minutes of live instruction is a block of time. And during that block of time, we're going to be pulling small groups. So your child will probably be in 2 language arts small groups a week and 2 math small groups. And then the afternoon is going to work the same way. So in the morning, we're kind of integrating language arts and social studies together. And then we're doing the same thing in the afternoon with math and science. So we'll have a 45-minute live block, and then we'll do small groups after that. Does that answer your question?
All right, let's see. Is it Mrs. Simmons?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, so my question is more in regards to logistics. For the teachers during the first quarter, will they provide instruction through their classroom, or will they be at their own homes providing the instruction? And I ask that question because I'm more concerned about internet connections that the teachers may have, and the students may not be able to hear them if their connection is bad.
Yeah, they'll have the option. The county is still really encouraging most people to stay home and not to be into to come into groups en masse. However, they have let the option before if a teacher is in a location, like we had a few teachers in the spring who really couldn't get on reliably on the internet from where they are. Now, some of them took care of that problem just because they realized, oh, I'm teaching here in the spring, and they knew they had to take care of it. It just took some Comcast or whatever your service was a little while, but some will be coming into the building. So if they have Wi-Fi issues, now I was saying that I think we've all experienced Wi-Fi, at some time. We're looking at that as consistent Wi-Fi things. If it's happening, more than one time or so a week, they have the option to come in. But teachers who also just feel more comfortable teaching from their classroom, and if it works in there, or else it's just maybe more conducive for them because maybe there's a lot of things going around them. I've had a couple of teachers who have asked if they can come in and teach in the classroom, and so we set up some guidelines to make sure everyone's social distance so they can come in. So you'll probably see a mix. It's just going to depend. But to the question, if they do have Wi-Fi connection, like consistent Wi-Fi connection, then they'll be probably teaching from the classroom, I would imagine.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, Mrs. Layton.
Yeah, my question is, I have a first grader, and I know we need to use the email to log into all these systems. So we've not used her email before. How do I go about setting the password, for the first time, so that we can get into everything?
Great question. Mr. Taylor has that because that's a frequent question.
Yeah, so if you go to the TCLAWOOD website and go to any of the grade level team pages, you're going to see 3 links at the bottom. One of them will take you to a PDF that'll give you instructions on resetting your children's password, which is what you're doing. If you've never used it before, you're just going to reset the password. And then it also, there's links there to get you set up on Canvas as a parent observer too, even though it's not what you asked. Those tend to be our most common questions. They want the email address and password, and then they want to get into Canvas and they want to get their parent observer account set up. So we have those there on the team pages on the TCLAWOOD website. If you just want to get it directly from me, just shoot me an email and I'll send those right out to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
And that will also be when we get the virtual handbook out. Those directions will be there as well. So you'll have them kind of handy also. As I was thinking, 2 other things came to my mind. Yearbooks. If you ordered a yearbook from last year, I still can't believe that they're not here yet. I've been working with the yearbook company as Mrs. Young, our office assistant, and I have been working through it. So hopefully they'll be finalized tomorrow. And then once they're finalized, they'll give me a date for turning them. I know it doesn't apply to everybody, but I can't believe that I'm talking about yearbooks and it's August. And then we're talking about the ones from last year. And the second, strings. I never mentioned strings. I forgot gifted in strings. Strings will actually be having sessions 2 for our 4th and 5th graders, and he'll send some information out to 4th and 5th grade students after the school year gets started in September. All right, I think our last question here is Frankie's iPad.
Yes, hello, how you doing?
Hi.
My son is a transfer student from Bennett,
Okay.
going into the 4th grade. When this happened, you know, his assignments were basically sent to us via email, and then we were given an app called Seesaw. Now, is this clever, something like that as well? Because I would have to take pictures and then I would have to download it into Seesaw so that his work would be seen by the teacher and graded and everything else. How is that going to work?
So we, the Canvas, don't get Canvas and Clever confused. They're two different things. The virtual classroom basically is Canvas, and that's where we will be posting all of the assignments. Seesaw is a website tool that teachers can use. So that really is at the teacher's discretion. So your child's teacher may use Seesaw again this year, or they may not. It's really just what they choose to do. Outside of Seesaw, the teacher they're pretty flexible in terms of how they can distribute that work out to you and then have you submit it back in. We're trying to offer a lot of flexibility on the part of the parents. So I've been training the teachers with a lot of different options for how they can get the work back from students. But we're still that's why we have these 3 weeks for training. We're still training staff, trying to get them as many options as possible. So I can't promise that it will or won't be anything specific. Just that hopefully you'll have a variety of options for how you can submit assignments.
And I have one more question, if possible. I know you were talking about the children, they do have an email, which I found very comical, like around April. My son's teacher at the time asked about his email and he forgot the password. Would you be able to get that information from Bennett, or would I have to get that information so that it could be transferred over to the school?
No transfer necessary. Any student in William County, they all have the same Office 365 account. So there's nothing that needs to change. If you just go to one of our team pages on the website, or if you email me, then I'll make sure you get the info that you need to find their username if they forgot it, and to reset their password if they don't know the password.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
And again, we'll have that when the virtual handbook comes out, you'll have that direction, but I think it's also on our website or somewhere else.
It is on the website on any of the grade level pages.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Because that is a very frequent question.
And Dr. Bookite, I had seen 2 other hands up. I see Mrs. Bush hand up, and then I saw Ashara too. So I just want to make sure if they still have questions that we address those. I was trying to write down whose hands were up. And so
if those two parents still have questions, ask me. I see Mrs. Sanchez has a hand up, and I'll look for the other ones. I don't see. That's Mrs. Sanchez.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, thank you again for holding this meeting. It's super helpful to us as we're all adapting to the new norm. So we really appreciate it. I wonder, will there be any extracurricular virtual activities or groups offered to the students?
Good question. I know the PTO had sent something out to our teachers. I think it was like a week or so ago, and about asking about like the how we've done the before and after school enrichment type programs. So it was only I think a week ago. I think it was just the initial part, just to see if there was interest for people to serve in teaching. So they are looking at it. Probably they'll have the information. Any teachers, guys, any of you know anything?
Yeah. Just what you said, Mr. Quick, the PTO president, did ask for teachers that are interested in virtual SEP. He said he wasn't 100% sure if we were going to be able to do it, but he was trying to see who was interested. And I did say I was interested, but I don't know what club I'm going to do yet. So if you have ideas, you can shoot me an email about that. I'd love to hear what you might be interested in as a virtual club.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
And then the Pete's, I see. I have one here too. I'm muting them.
Hi. I just have a quick question. It's a follow-up to the question that was asked about the schedule.
And just wondering if the other grade levels will have a similar structure as Ms. Rice described for kindergarten, if they too will have like these 45-minute sessions and then also be able to kind of have either groups or stepping away from the computer. Just how much time they're going to have, how much chunks of time are they going to have really in front of the screen?
Yeah,
you want me to take it, Dr.?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
All right. Yes, if you look at the schedule, you'll see, I think it's pink is a chunk of live group instruction, and then yellow. So pink would be your language arts, and depending on the grade level, there'd be a chunk of time for kindergarten. It happens to be 45 minutes. And then in the afternoon, you'll have a chunk of time for your math. And so all the other time, with the exception of the encore, which is a 45-minute block, and then you have an hour-long lunch/recess, all the other times you would not expect your student to be participating online for that large chunk of time. What that would be is a small group. And so just like kindergarten, the other grade levels, once they assess the students, they'll put students into small groups. My guess would be probably once, maybe twice a day, once for language arts, maybe once a day for math, or they may do a different combination. So I think sometimes it can be confusing to parents when you see all these chunks of time thinking that they're going to be online that entire time, and they won't. You really want to pay attention to the language arts live instruction, the math live instruction, and then the teachers will give you a specific schedule for your child of when they'll have that small group. And typically our small groups aren't any more than 20 to 30 minutes. And so just as Mrs. Rice explained for kindergarten, first grade will come up with that, as will all the other grade levels.
All right. I think those are the last.
We still have, it says Kevin Bush. It's Mrs. Bush, but it says Kevin Bush.
How do you see that?
She has a stripe. She has her hand up. She has a striped tank top dress on. My descriptions.
Oh, I've been looking at the hands on the right side, but I guess there's some here. So, all right. Yes, let me unmute. There we go. Oh, you had your real hand up. Your real hand was up. Oh, good job, Ms. Udinski. Keep that up. Okay.
I'm Liz, not Kevin, but let me count first. I have two questions. The first one is for Encore. I'm sure I'm not the only, lucky enough that both my husband and I still have our jobs right now. So we're both working. My kids will be going to Taekwondo during the day, and they'll be monitoring their virtual day while they're there. Will Encore be optional as it was in the spring, or are they going to be graded for that? Because they have another schedule that they're going to be, they're going to be making sure they monitor their actual curriculum and the school day at the Taekwondo studio, but they're also working in other physical activities while they're there. So my concern is, I know my daughter doesn't always, she gets B's on her gym class most of the time. So I'm just wondering, is that going to affect them grade-wise if they don't participate in the encores on a regular basis and start doing other things at the other studio that I'm paying for them to go to?
That's a good question, because we really haven't been given the guidance yet on how grading and attendance will work. What I do hear when Dr. Waltz has been talking to the school board or with us, I do hear he referenced it as grace. So I think we want to build in this degree of flexibility and grace, especially for Encore is really pretty much, they're looking at generally satisfactory, satisfactory plus or these support. So I'm pretty sure we'll be able to work around that. I mean, I don't want, everyone's in a different scenario, and I don't imagine they want students to be penalized for situations like you were describing. So I don't know the answer 100% yet. We're hoping to get more specifics on both attendance and grading, even attendance overall. Like if you were to attend the language arts live session, but not the math live session, how we're really referencing attendance. But I really think that the key point is going to be, we do want students to be doing the academic work. It may be that, some of the, say for art, music, and PE are really the three encores to get graded on. there's something that will be more asynchronously that they could ask, to just make sure everyone's kind of on that same page. But we don't want, what I'm hearing and what I believe as well, we don't want students to be penalized because of their circumstance. So that's what I think, and I think that's what they're trying to build into it.
Okay, great. I just don't want them, I don't want their grades to be affected long term. My daughter's going into 5th grade, and I know that's the more serious year. My son will be in 2nd grade, but I have concerns. I don't want them to be penalized because they may or may not be available for the encore sessions. So Okay, and then the other question I had, because I was at work and my husband jumped on before I got on here. I may have missed this, and you may have covered it, but for teacher assignments, are those going to be coming out soon? And I know we're obviously not doing back to school night, but will the teachers be reaching out to parents individually, or will there be a Zoom meeting set up with each teacher? How will that work?
Yeah, we did cover that. So good question. So I know the answers to those. The division will have the student placement information in Parent View beginning September 4th.
Okay.
So it may come in earlier. I know that they're looking at the whole entire county, and I think trying to schedule the high school has been a little bit challenging because of all different things. So we thought it would be available on Monday in Parent View, but it looks like it won't be till September 4th. But if it comes out earlier, we'll send that information out. One of the things that we were talking about also earlier is just, as opposed to all the other years, we're actually looking at we're directed to build classes based on what people have predicted they would want to do in November. So it's a little bit different scenario. If people want to do virtual or in person, we're looking at trying to build those classes so that hopefully when it comes to the second quarter, we're not having to do a lot of changes based on what learning choice they have chosen. With the dates for open house, we are going to do virtual open house, and you'll see that tomorrow in the Timberwolf Times. We kind of showed a little on a slide here, but I also have it going out tomorrow morning Timberwolf Times. So I think it's September 2nd are our open house days, and then we also have a new student orientation the day before.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And what other hands do you see there, Mrs. Udis?
Miss Garney had a question.
So I'm actually Mrs. Bunn, but I'm here with her. So
okay.
I just had a question about rising 5th graders that are actually going to be patrols, have been selected for patrols this year. Like, how is that going to?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I have that too. Sorry, I'll mute myself now. Sorry.
I don't know if Mrs. Rice or the teachers know, but I do know Mr. Dove is working on that. He does have a plan for it.
Okay.
We had talked earlier on, and he did say he had a plan, but I don't know exactly how that's going to look or how we're going to do it. Maybe something where he's looking at maybe even within classrooms or things like that.
Okay, perfect. Also, Mrs. Garney does have a question.
Okay.
So if there are SOLs, are there going to be, what about the kids that go virtual all year?
Yeah, we're not sure how that will be administered. Right now, they are still planning on SOLs. The state did get a waiver for accreditation, so they really won't count for us. At least they won't count as a state or federal. It still may count as a county. They may look at where we are, but I'm still hoping, even though I guess it would be good information baseline, and that's why they would keep it. I'm still kind of hoping that they make it this, and I think they will look at it if by chance the majority of students stay home virtually in Virginia, because again, we're looking at all of Virginia. Maybe they are revisiting it. It is not a close thing. So it's always a chance it can't be. I think if they're virtually, it probably would just be ones they just wouldn't take. I don't think they're, I could be wrong. I don't think they'll look at a virtual, assessment for that. So as soon as they are baseline, it won't, be as significant. Again, that could change. And I think I saw a Sarah. Yes. Yeah. You guys are very patient there. I saw your hand pop up a couple times and then disappear. Sorry, I was looking on the right side. And
Thank you. At first, I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Buckeye, and all the teachers for really doing a beyond outstanding job of being thrown literally the world's biggest curveball. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine what y'all had to go through. But just from listening tonight, the discussion that's going on from all the teachers, you guys really deserve a round of applause.
Thank you.
So thank you all. I had just two quick questions. Several of the teachers mentioned that they had some real, pretty good success in the virtual learning environment. And I was just wondering if there was any light that could be shed on how that success was measured.
No. Yeah. Any teacher want to jump in? I will. I mean, I'll look. And Broderick, keep an eye out if a teacher raises their hand. Can you unmute them?
Yeah. Can I just ask? Can he repeat the end of that question again? I didn't hear the end of it. He asked how that success. It sounded like you said. Did you say how that success was measured?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ms. Curry, I saw your hand go up there. I think we'll hear probably more anecdotal because in the spring we weren't really looking at grading. There you go, Ms. Curry. Mrs. Cortez, too. I'll unmute you as well. Did I not unmute you, Mrs. Curry?
And Mrs. Rice, unmute Mrs. Rice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I thought I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I might have hit mute again, sorry. So while we weren't technically grading anything in the spring, we definitely kept records of what we were doing with our students. And for me, it was just really seeing them understanding concepts that we already taught, that we had to review with them, and seeing what they did from when we were in the classroom to what we were reviewing with them at home. We visually saw that growth. It necessarily wasn't graded, but you could tell just by reviewing concepts that were previously taught, they have grown, whether it was with the math or even with reading, like their fluency levels, their comprehension skills were growing with those small groups that I was doing in the spring.
Okay. And this kind of segues into my second question. The kind of growth you saw, is that, roughly equivalent to maybe what would have occurred in an in-person classroom? And a follow-up to that would be the time period that this virtual situation has to go on. Do you have any sense of if the virtual end result in terms of how the students learn to grow, if that's going to be approximately equivalent to the in-person?
I know for me, I was really happy with the growth that I did see with my students. I was able to really spend honestly more time with them in small groups than I probably would have been able to in the classroom because of the tedious schedule from 9 to 4. So being able to pull my kids into the groups that I was able to do it with them, I definitely saw growth. And I was able to really even challenge some of my students to focus on things that they would need to be learning in 5th grade. I don't know if that really answers your question.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
But it definitely was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Ms. Cortez?
I think another thing that's different about this fall is that we will have programs in place that we will be able to measure student achievement that we did not have this past spring as a whole school. So that will be something from the start where we'll be able to take those baseline measurements for students in track achievement that we didn't have. A lot of this that we can tell you about today is just our own experiences and our own personal thoughts on what we did see, but we will have that data come September 8th and on forward.
I'm really interested to see how it develops.
The nice thing is the county has also another program that really is going to be more of a teacher program is Mastery Connect. And with that, it gives the teachers an opportunity to assess students virtually on specific objectives. So this it's new for us this school year. We were, again, one of these programs that they were looking at going forward and getting anyway, but, will really be something that we think will be useful for some of that, more objective data as opposed to, the subjective. And I would say this spring, I probably would look at our, besides the growth, I noticed that all the teachers saw to that degree. A big part of what we were trying to do is keep everyone connected, and keep building those relationships. And from again anecdotal observation, I think that happens. So yeah, it definitely will be a different focus in the starting in September 8th.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
All right, thank you. All right, I think that is it.
Is Jen Helmick? Did she get? Did they get their question answered?
I don't see her name. Well,
hey, it's Jen Helmick.
Okay, good.
Or Greg Helmick. My wife asked me not to embarrass us. But, so two questions. With the end of last school year, I realized I'm not a teacher, and school was a little difficult, right? So I think they got some of the concepts, but as our kids go into third grade and other kids, right? Is there going to be a time frame where they take a step back to make sure that the second grade material was, accomplished what they needed to in order to move on to third, or is it just going to be straight into third grade?
Good question. I see a couple of hands coming up there. I see Mrs. Rice and Mrs. Curry. Let's see if I have to find you guys here. It goes so slow.
Mrs. Hanover is
Rice here.
Oh, Miss Hanover too. Miss Hanover, you go first then.
Okay. First of all, hi there. Please say hi to your kiddos. I miss them. But yes, every grade level is going to be taking a step back. We're starting with pretty much unit 0, which will encompass the material that was not covered in the spring. There's no way we could, start from day one in the grade that they're entering. So we definitely have measures in place to go back, review, finish up, make sure that groundwork has been laid more solidly before moving on to the new curriculum.
Okay. Ms. Rice, did you want to?
Mrs. Hanover really answered that question well. The county, all the different departments, language arts, math, social studies, science, et cetera, all have come out with pacing guides. So the entire county is on the same page. So kindergarten's not affected because they didn't miss anything last year, but every other grade level from March 13th on, any SOL that weren't covered will be covered before they move on to their new material.
Okay, thank you. And then real quick, as I'm trying to, I've got flexibility, but I'm trying to figure out what days to go in the office. Monday seems like a day where it's going to be more virtual, more of the kids trying to work on their own. So is it safe to say that if Monday would probably be a day that if they needed help, that would be more important to be home versus the Tuesday through Friday where they'll actually be more hands-on with the teachers?
That's a good question. Ms. Hanover, I see you about this.
So I feel like the material that will be expected of the children on Mondays will generally be a review and culmination of what has been taught the previous week. If the concern is more helping with technology or being present at the appropriate time for small group instruction, then I would say the Tuesday through Friday would be more beneficial for an adult to be there as far as helping with that piece. In our grade level, we've talked about using the Monday as kind of solidifying all the material that has been learned. So more of a review and a wrap up before moving on with new material. But that's my grade level.
So I was going to say it might be more age grade related. So I'm
fourth grade.
Mrs. Rice.
Go on, Mrs. Cordesh. And
Yeah, the fourth grade team is also thought about the Monday being our Friday. So we're wrapping up all concepts for the week. So I think that would probably be a good day not to have someone home if needed, especially in the upper grades, because the kids in the upper grades will be able to get themselves on and off for the most part.
I think you're going to find once your student actually gets on Canvas, in the spring, it was go to this website, that website, et cetera, and it was kind of overwhelming for all of us. But Canvas is really a one-stop shopping. So all of the buttons are hyperlinked and really easy to use and easy to read. So once you get past the whole log on and passwords and et cetera, it's going to go much, much easier than the spring.
All right. I think we got everything. If I missed your hand or missed your question, feel free to email me. I can see I have a few emails from some people who were not able to stay on the whole time. So I'll be able to answer them, and I'll try to get to it tonight. And really, I just want to thank all our families who were able to come out here. And of course, a big thank you to all our staff members who stayed late with us virtually or throughout the building today to answer these questions. So guys, have a great evening, and I hope I'll see everybody at either Mr. Taylor's question and answer on technology next week or at the open houses on the following week on September 2nd. All right. Take care.